Recording is on.
Perfect. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We'll just wait a couple of seconds for everybody to join in. Hope everybody is well. An early happy St. Patrick's Day. So welcome to the first of the Masterclass series, Beyond the Basics of Generative AI. I'm Mark Henderson, CEO of Cubicle. This is a three-part Masterclass webinar series where we will be taking you through the more advanced topics of generative AI, including AI use cases, large language models, and finally, building some amazing AI tools. Our hope is that by the end of the series, you'll be able to confidently identify where Gen AI can play a role in improving business processes or even enhancing everyday business activities. A very quick mention to the sponsor of this series, Academies Plus. For those of you who are familiar with Cubicle, you would likely know us for our industry-leading e-learning content. Now, with the advent of AI, and with that, a rapidly changing technology landscape, we've identified an increasing need for blended digital learning experiences. This is where e-learning essentially meets human-led interventions scattered throughout the learning experience. This type of approach means that training can always be current and accurate, something that's generally difficult to do with just e-learning when the subject matter is constantly changing, like, of course, AI. Academies Plus is a product that responds to this need, and as such, we've augmented our e-learning with brilliant minds and tailored learning projects, and that's essentially Academies Plus. Now, with this Masterclass series, we will also be giving you an opportunity to experience some of what Academies Plus has to offer through our online training product. Very shortly after I hand over to today's instructor, I'll be posting a link and a code in the comments for you to join today's Masterclass actually on Cubicle. If you are an existing Cubicle learner, you will be unable, unfortunately, to join through this link, but not to worry, you already have access to the material by way of your current subscription. Here you'll find some relevant e-learning to augment your Masterclass experience. Now, complete and attend all Masterclasses and e-learning content, a bit of a challenge for you all, and we'll even offer you a much prized Cubicle diploma. Now that leads me naturally to the introduction of our instructor for this series, Dr. Shubham Jain. Shubham is an AI researcher and lecturer, having worked for companies like Ericsson, MasterCard, and Yahoo, where he's been leading AI innovation and also holds a PhD in AI. Without using up any more of today's time, I'm happy to put you in the hands of Shubham for the remainder of this Masterclass webinar. Over to you.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Mark. So hi, everyone. Welcome to the masterclass. Now, this masterclass is just going to be 1 hour today, and well, it's going to be short, but yet very interesting. We're going to cover a lot more interesting aspects of AI. We'll start from the beginning. So if you don't know about AI, don't worry, because we're not going to dive into some very technical things, and I'll start from the beginning as well. In today's class, we are going to discuss what is AI. Now, I'm pretty sure you've seen many definitions of AI, but really, we're going to see a fresh perspective on what AI really means and how it impacts you as well. We'll understand AI models and LLMs. We'll also understand the timelines on when it really started. So is it all about the hype, or is the hype real as well? We're going to see some live demos of AI applications on Hugging Face spaces, and you'll be surprised to see how easy it is to identify many use cases on AI using the technology, as well as understand the code behind it as well. We're going to also notice some real world business use cases and statistics, and finally talk about the agentic AI in workplaces, because I think everybody in the AI space is now saying that agents are the future. Every company is launching AI agents. So yeah, we'll probably touch base on that as well. And yeah, there is a resource that I will be sharing with all of you towards the end of the class that will help you identify AI use cases and gets you started. So yeah, we'll begin with the first slide, which is what is AI? Now, in terms of AI, everybody would have a different definition. A general definition floating around online is that AI is something that can mimic human intelligence, work like a human, behave like a human. But really, if you think of AI and the use in the real world, it would be fair to say that AI is something that, yes, would need to mimic human intelligence, as well as it should be a strategic co pilot for every human. Because I think when the AI launched, the first thing that people had in mind is AI going to replace humans? Is AI smarter than humans? And well, most of you would be hoping that the answer to this question is no, but unfortunately, it is yes. AI is smarter than humans. AI could replace humans, and there is a question mark over there. So, if I were to say this, AI is going to be more efficient in day-to-day tasks, in multiple activities, in different types of domains and areas, and it already is smarter than most of the humans in different areas as well. For example, look into coding, look into marketing, look into image generation, look into legal accounting. AI has a big memory and it can understand a lot of knowledge compared to any humans. Even in healthcare, AI has been tested in different use cases, and AI has generally done a better job in medical images, in medical diagnosis. And yeah, definitely in more areas as well, it's going to adapt, it's going to be better. So, is AI going to replace us humans in the future jobs? Well, yes and no both. So, yes, if you don't upskill yourself with AI, and no, if you do upskill yourself with AI. Why? Because according to us, AI should be a strategic co pilot for every human, right? What this means is AI will beat you as a human 100%, but AI can't beat a human that is using AI, right? So a human with AI is far more efficient than just AI standalone, which is why training and working with AI becomes very significant, especially in these years, as AI technology is rapidly growing. And the new innovations that we're seeing in the market are coming at a rapid pace. I'm going to show you in the later slides how quick the innovation was since the advent of models, AI models like ChatGPT in December 2023. Before I do that, I think there's a clear need to understand what a model really is, because everybody sees that each and every companies are launching their own models, models that people um, hear about that has billions of parameters, millions of parameters, and what do they really mean and how does it affect you? Now, to put it in simple words, think of a model as a big zip file. So think of a model as a simple file that contains hidden information or hidden knowledge. Now, when a company says that we are launching this AI model and the model name is ChatGPT 3.5 with 400 million parameters, to put it in simple terms, you can think of a zip file or like a CSV file that contains 400 columns. And those 400 columns could be like the 400 parameters. The newer models that are launched by OpenAI, like ChatGPT o1 models, ChatGPT 4 models, and I'm going to discuss all that with you today as well, they contain billions of parameters. Now, for example, a model that contains 70 billion parameters, think of that as a big, big Excel file that contains 70 billion columns, where each column is a parameter from information around the world. And this is how a model and a parameter gives us a simple, let's say, a zip file. Now, I shouldn't be calling it a zip file, of course, but it is a model is essentially like a small compact file that you can take and use to directly ask questions. And the model's knowledge will already have a lot of information from the world. It will help you answer any question that you ask, right? How does it do it? Because from all those parameters, billions of parameters, it has learned about all of those knowledge, all that information, and created like a simpler, compressed version of the knowledge in that zip file. So whenever you ask any question, it is able to answer you that question. But yeah, sometimes you may have also heard, for example, when ChatGPT 3.5 launched, its knowledge was limited to certain months and certain years. So the model was not able to give you answers for the latest months, which is why the information was generally outdated. And the reason was this model was trained on data until a certain timestamp. And once we deployed that model, the model had no longer access to the newer world data, which is why the newer generations of model have something known as a web search. So models are now able to search the internet and give you the best possible answer by identifying the best possible sources, which is how we have improved over the last few months as well. So yeah, this is the model. LLMs. which is also known as large language models, is a terminology that is generally being used in the new AI. So LLM models will allow you to do much more than general AI, because a general AI could be used relying on mathematical algorithm, could be relying on algorithms that are based on neural network. Now, when I say neural network, I mean something that replicates a human brain. But LLMs has a far better understanding compared to all those architectures and structures. Why? Because LLM, they are like language assistants trained on all this knowledge to answer questions like humans. Okay. And essentially, I think throughout this masterclass, we're going to be discussing about LLMs and their examples. Now, let me move forward. So before I move on, I think I just want to first of all tell you the timelines of these models. So where did it all start? So it all started when ChatGPT was launched. So essentially, OpenAI was the company that started all this. Uh, why? Because their model ChatGPT 3.5 was one of the first models to ever have all this knowledge. It was one of the first model that was able to understand the context behind a question that is being asked by a user, right? But since then, it has the path, the evolution, and the innovation that has happened in this field has been massive. For example, OpenAI 3.5 model, which is the first model that we all saw, is no longer on their website itself. Why? Because it was, and I mean, if you use the current models now, 3.5 was one of the dumbest models the world did ever see, and yet it was very fancy for all of us. But now we have so many different types of models. So, for example, after 3.5, they launched GPT-4. GPT-4 launched in March 2023. GPT-4 was a much better model than GPT 3.5. The biggest issues with GPT 3.5 was that it was not reliable. So, if, for example, a lawyer used GPT 3.5 to write down a document about his case and also used references from that case. Unfortunately, when he went to the court along with that article, it turned out that the references that he did use were indeed fake. And this was a big issue. Um, the godfather of Google, AI at Google, he mentioned that he's worried about misleading and false information. And I think AI is going to be uh, have a worst effect on, well, fake data, which in the current terms could also be known as synthetic data, right? If I were to give you an example of this, the world indeed is going to be filled with synthetic data. For example, if you search anything on Google, for example, if I search, let's say, we go to google.com, and if I search peacock images, there was a time when you did search this, and all you would get is real peacock images. But now the world has changed, and generally, more than 70% of the images that you do see are going to be AI generated images. And you can try this with different types of image searches as well. And what you would notice is that everything that you are searching online, the entire internet is now filled with AI generated articles. The real question is it good or is it bad? So I think this is where the model evolution really helped us understand all these issues. For example, GPT-4 was more reliable, but still it did not have access to the internet. So anything that it gave us was not verified and reliable. GPT-4 did solve some of those issues. Now, there were two problems with GPT-4. One thing, it was very, very, very slow. Okay, so if you asked a question, it was very slow to answer your queries. And the second thing, GPT-4 was very expensive to run, even for OpenAI, right? So ultimately, they released a model known as GPT-4o, which is it was a better version of GPT-4. It was more intelligent than GPT-4. It was faster than GPT-4, yet much cheaper than GPT-4. Which is why if you use ChatGPT at the moment, GPT-4 is the by default model that ChatGPT uses, right? And GPT-4 was a really interesting model as well. The first part is O would mean omni. Now, what does omni mean? Omni means not only it does understand text data, which is just something that you type in, it also understood audio, it also understood video, it also understood PDFs, it also understood different file formats. So 4O, where O literally means omni, is the world's first model that was able to understand different types of file formats. Now, if I were to give you an example, this is their pitch. And there's so many interesting videos that they did launch when they released the website. I'm just going to show you some of them that I really like myself. For example, I'll play this.
Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Miana.
I just have to check if I'm sharing audio as well. Just give me 1 second. And there you go.
Hi, Alex and Miana. Nice to meet you both. How's it going?
It's pretty cool. We're trying to figure out what should we play. Do you have any suggestions?
Absolutely. How about a classic game of rock, paper, scissors? It's quick, fun,
I think
and you
that
don't need
sounds
any.
great. Can you count us in and sound like a sportscaster?
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ultimate showdown of the century. In this corner, we have the dynamic duo, Alex and Miana, ready to throw down.
Okay,
in a
just
fierce
count us in.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, shoot. Now, show your hands. What did you pick?
Who won?
Would you look at that? It's a tie.
Okay, let's
that
do
was
it
a
again.
close- Round 2, here we go. Get ready. And 3.
Yeah, so this is one aspect of AI where she's able to see from the images in real time in the real world, um, where OpenAI's GPT model is able to understand and listen to you in real time as well. So multiple input sources coming in from your audio, from your video, and AI being able to understand that simultaneously was a big achievement. And GPT-4o was the first ever model to ever achieve this. Now there's many. For example, Meta has their own models, and I'm going to show you that after this. But interestingly, GPT-4o was able to look into many, many use cases. So, for example, it could help you play games like this. It could help you with sarcasm. So, AI also had some sarcasm. You could also learn technologies and math using this. For example, I'll play this video.
OpenAI invited myself and my son Imran here to try out some of their new technology. And so we're curious about how good it might be at tutoring someone in math on Khan Academy. So,
Of course, I'd be happy to help. Let's look at the problem together. Can you first identify which sides of the triangle are the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse relative to angle alpha?
All right, so I'm pretty sure this is the angle alpha right here, right?
Perfect. That's correct. Now, looking at the triangle.
So, GPT is able to access your screen, and then GPT can also help you solve problems like math problems and general question and answers as well. It can also be your language tutor. For example, you can learn any language using GPT.
Hey, my friend and I are learning Spanish, and we're wondering if you could tell us the names of these objects in Spanish.
Hola, por supuesto.
Cool. What are these objects in Spanish?
The objects you're showing are una manzana and un plátano in Spanish. Nice fruit choice.
Cool. What about these?
Those are dos polígrafos or dos plumas in Spanish. One
That's
is red.
Nice. What about this?
Yeah. So this was GPT-4o, one of the breakthrough models. It was so good that it's still being used by the OpenChat GPT website. But it was not the last model. Just recently, on February 27th, 2025, GPT released the latest model, which is GPT 4.5. Now, unfortunately, at the moment, well, they have it available on the website for the Plus users, but it is comparatively very, very expensive. Just to give you an idea, GPT-4 used to cost them $20 for 1 million tokens. Now, when I use the word tokens, just to simplify things, let me just say 1 million characters. GPT-4o only costed them $2 for 1 million tokens. So, big enough savings. GPT 4.5 does cost them $200 for 1 million tokens. So it's very expensive. But why is it very expensive? So GPT-4o is their next breakthrough model. The reason it's much better is because it has now generally the previous models had a great IQ, had a great knowledge, and they were able to answer mathematical questions. They had also created different types of models as well. So I've only shown you GPT-4 models. There's also O category of models like O1, O3, O1 mini, and they are reasoner models. For example, these models are like PhD level researchers. They will help you in physics, mathematics, computation, coding, chemical, any kind of problems. 4.5 is the world's first model that looks into EQ, which is known as emotional quotient. So it tries to speak, behave, and work like an actual human. It's the closest model that mimics exactly how a human thinks and speaks and functions. And which is why 4.5 is much better when it comes to models that you need for your customer service, for your sales, and other applications as well. Okay. It's a pretty new model, but yeah, I'm going to go on and show you O models now. So then there was a time of type of models, but then came reasoner models. Reasoning models were one step ahead. When you ask a question to them, they don't give you an answer right away. Rather, what they would do is they would take time to think. They would think for 3 seconds, 10 seconds, even 2 minutes in some instances, unless they're able to speak to them and validate the answer that they're going to provide to you. So thinking models were more intelligent, well, expensive as well, but were more reliable because thinking models won't give you wrong answers, right? The first thinking model that did launch was the GPT model O1. Um, and then there was this model known as O1 Preview, right? So O1 Preview is essentially a smaller, compact version of O1 model. But now in the market, we have O1 full-fledged version model. If I was to show you a comparison, think about this. So this is an example of a cipher. Cipher is like encrypted text. So like imagine I'm going to send a message to somebody, and I've just converted that into characters using a password. So for example, if this means think step by step, then what does this mean? Was a simple question, right? Now, if you try converting it slowly, step by step, you may get these answers as well. But basically, all we have given to ChatGPT input is this text means this in English. So then what does this mean in English? Now, when this question was asked to ChatGPT 4.0, it started taking a step-by-step approach. It said, yeah, this is my input. This should be the output. I am examining the words. Let's decode the new phrase, step-by-step decoding. So a possible division could be this. However, to make a meaningful decoding, I would need more context. And it was not able to give you an answer. Now, when the same question was asked with OpenAI O1 model, right, it thought for 5 seconds, and this was the model's thinking. So this is not the answer that it's giving us. This is the questions that it's asking itself. So first, what is going on here? We are given first an example. This, what can see we can see that when blah 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 is transformed to things step by step or a task, and then yeah, other things that it's asking itself. Finally, it starts towards answering the questions. No, I should. It's a big enough thinking, so I should um, yeah, close the drop down menu, and there you go. And finally, this is the response. To record the given cyberstring using the example, this is the example. It is decoded as this. So I'm going to convert each letter to its numerical position, does some analysis, and then finally breaking down one by one gives us a much detailed algorithm. And yeah, there you go. There's the answer. Okay. So O1 models are much better at logical thinking and reasoning, and which is why O models formed a new category. And GPT, well, ChatGPT currently has three types of reasoning models, where yeah, so basically the reasoning models range from O1, O3, and O3 mini. So there's different kinds of models available. And similarly, if you recently heard about a news in China where somebody launched a model called DeepSeek, DeepSeek also launched a reasoning model. Why was it in the news? Because DeepSeek reasoning model was comparatively much cheaper than OpenAI's reasoning model. So they both had a reasoning model, but DeepSeek's reasoning model was comparatively the cheapest reasoning model to ever exist, which is why they were in the news. But this is what OpenAI did, and they're not the only company to be doing something like this, right? There have been many company innovating as well. There's Meta, there's Anthropic, which is invested by well, Amazon invested in Anthropic, but Anthropic is working on Claude models. So Claude.ai is their website. And essentially, Claude is also doing wonders in different areas, and we will be seeing some really cool inventions from them. But before I do that, I want to show you this. So this is when Llama, which is from Meta released Llama models. Llama was competing directly with OpenAI, but these models, this was the first time when they released a model that also understood the same like ChatGPT 4.0. It worked with text, it worked with images, it worked with audio, video, and everything. But because Meta is a big company and they also have products, they were able to use it extensively across their products. And I just want to show you this video on Meta AI.
We're making Meta AI even smarter with our new open source Llama 3.2 models. And I'm going to get into more details about Llama 3.2 in just a minute. But one of the headlines is that they're multimodal. So now Meta AI can natively understand images as well as text. Now, we're using this new capability to build some features that I haven't seen anyone else build. I mean, this is pretty interesting and novel.
So you see, because Llama is also multimodal, which means it can also understand multiple data types, not just text, but also images. You can literally edit images using AI. So for example, in this example, he's changing his shoes, clothes, and everything.
Creative tools that we're adding to Imagine Edit. It lets you upload any photo and edit it precisely with natural language in Meta AI across the apps. I think that voice is going to be a way more natural way of interacting with AI than text. And probably, I think it has the potential to be one of, if not the most frequent ways that we all interact with AI. It is just a lot better. So now you're going to be able to have natural voice conversations with Meta AI across all the major apps. You got Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook. Hey, are live demos risky?
Live demos can be risky, yes. They can be unpredictable, prone to technical issues, and potentially embarrassing. However, they can also be engaging, memorable.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
Go for it. Just be prepared for anything to happen.
So you were one of the first creators.
Now, what Meta also does is it lets you create your own AI clone, which will clone your not just your face, but also your voice, and publish them on apps like Messenger. For example, now the example that you're going to see is this person on the right. He created his own AI clone for his audience, and then his audience was able to ask any questions, and we'll see the demo now.
Build one of these creator AIs with a text-only platform. Can you tell us what it does and your experience with it?
Yeah, so like for me, I've been treating my creator AI kind of like my digital assistant. So I've trained it on how I respond and how to engage with my audience, and then it can like send DMs, can share links to relevant resources, and then what else am I having it do? Oh yeah, it guides people through conversation. It's great.
Congrats on the new book that you just released. What's the main thing that you're hoping that people take away from it?
Thank you so much. Yeah, the main thing I want people to take away from my book is the idea that you have the power to create your own opportunities by combining curiosity, adaptability, and resilience in a rapidly evolving digital world.
We are experimenting with automatic video.
Now, what it's going to show you is very interesting. So imagine, think of it as a very unique tool for people who post content on Instagram and social media platforms. Now, for example, let's say you are a creator whose language is English, so you are only able to reach the English audience. How about you are a Spanish creator, and then you want to reach the general global audience as well? Instagram allows you to do automatic dubbing. So this automatic dubbing will allow you to dub your videos and change your audio to any language you want. Not just dubbing, it'll also adjust your lip sync with AI. So no one could tell if you're speaking the original language or any other dubbed language.
Dubbing on Reels, starting with English and Spanish. So this is going to be a way that you can see more of the content that's out there no matter what language you speak. And as a creator, this is going to let you reach a lot more people around the world no matter what language you speak. So now you're going to be able to take your content and it's going to be in your authentic voice, speaking other languages if you want. And we're also doing automatic lip syncing, so that way it actually looks like you are speaking the other language. So let's check this one out.
Mi lengua materna es el español, pero fíjate, ahora también puedo hablar inglés a través del doblaje automático de IA. My native language is Spanish, but check it out. Now I can also speak English through AI automatic dubbing.
So glasses are...
Yeah. So this is what Meta used to do. And then similarly, Meta is not the only company to work with speech and audio. I think we have a question in the Q&A as well about voice. So I think this is exactly the answer to one of the questions. 11 Labs is also another company that's working extensively with voices. So, and anybody could try this for free as well. For example, all you have to do is just go on this website, 11labs.io, and you can try that out yourself. So, for example, if you wanted to convert any audio to, well, any text to audio, you can just choose a voice, choose a language, okay? And you can just play the button and then the voice would be given to you. Not just this, you can also clone your own voice. So, for example, let's say this is the original voice and this is the cloned voice that this website created. I'm going to play both of them one by one. So let's see this voice.
All right, so get this. I'm at this new cafe downtown, trying to act all sophisticated with an espresso, And I'm sitting there scrolling through my phone, and this woman walks in. She's like,
So what you just heard is the original voice. What you're going to hear now is the cloned voice of the same person.
all right, so get this. I'm at this new cafe downtown, trying to act all sophisticated with an espresso.
Okay. Second,
Hey foodies, let's get cooking with some delicious vegan meal prep ideas. Tip number 1, plan your meals in advance to save time and ensure you have all the necessary ingredients on.
yeah. And then this is the cloned voice of the same person.
Hey foodies, let's get cooking with some delicious vegan meal prep ideas. Tip number 1, plan your meal.
Yeah. You can also change your voice. So what you could do is just upload your own audio and change your audio, which is recorded already, to a different audio. Now, not only does it allow you to convert it into a different voice, also it may be times when you just, let's say, recorded a presentation and you misspelled something, or there was a big pause, or you stuttered or something happened, and you want to remove all those issues and you want a proper speech without any issues, without any pauses. And this will do that for you. It'll identify issues in your voice and help you achieve a voice without any issues and disturbances. And you can just download it in your own voice or in any other person's voice available on their platform. Okay. It also does dubbing, as I did show you. So this is English.
I've interviewed some of the best CEOs in the world and I'm fascinated by
And this is
leadership
dubbed.
पसंद है और जो चीज़ मुझे सबसे अच्छी लगी है वो ये थी कि जब आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया क्रिकेट
Okay. Now, again, still this is very common because there's many companies doing the same things. What I really like about them though is something which is known as text to SFX. Now, this is really studio quality. Imagine you're a big studio and then you want background voices, background effects for something that you are developing. Let's say you want, fireworks. So fireworks exploding in the night sky. So you need this audio. So what this will do is as soon as you type in a prompt, it plays this. It gives you 3 to 4 options that you can choose from. And if you're signed in, it will give you more options as well. Once it does that, you can just play this and listen to what the output is of your prompt. Yeah, or it could be a lion roaring in Savannah, or literally anything. So when you go on this website, try typing in anything, and you would see the output does match your expectations. And I mean, the more detailed the prompt is, the better your audio output would be. But yeah, there you go, a lion roaring. Yeah, and I didn't need a studio to get all these sound effects. All I just need is AI to get all these sound effects now, right? So this is one company known as 11 Labs that does this. Go back to the slides. Now, I've talked about voice. Well, I've talked about text. I've talked about voice. What I haven't talked about yet is video. So every company is not just innovating in two things. Companies are also innovating in videos. For example, this is OpenAI's video model known as Sora. Okay, Sora is not the only one. Again, there's different companies. There's Sora. There's Google's model, which is known as VO. There's a company known as Runway ML, which is also a great company, and it does create realistic faces. So it's really good with actual humans. But I mean, look into this. All you need to type in, so if you're a Chat GPT Plus user, you do have access to Sora. So basically, this is the prompt, right? A stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon lights. So this is just a 3-line prompt, not even 3 lines, but just 2 line really. And this is the output that we're getting from that prompt. If I were to full screen this, yeah, there you go. Now, what you're seeing on the screen is completely AI generated, completely synthetic, simple terms, completely fake, um, based on the prompt that you did enter. Now, as I mentioned, it is video only, and look into the quality of that video. Okay. And this was the first video generation model. Things have moved much faster over the last 1 year, and we have become so much better now. I mean, I just want to show you this. So this launched in 2024 in the beginning, and what we had is these models, and I personally liked a video, and I'm going to show you that video. It's this video. So the prompt is very simple: reflections in the window of a train traveling through the Tokyo suburbs, right? Look into the output, look into the details in the output. Let me play this again. Yeah. So just with 7 to 8 words, I was able to create a video like this. Okay. And this is Sora. And there's more companies. For example, there's this company known as Runway ML. What Runway ML does is something much better than OpenAI Sora as well. It has many, many use cases that you can use this for. So, for example, you can, yeah, you can use this for generating images like this or videos like this. And what you're seeing on the page, everything is fake. Okay. They also created something that could be used for animated movies. And I'm going to show you this video, and it's very interesting.
Am I looking here?
So this that I'm showing you is known as Act 1 by Runway ML. And yeah, it's
What? You're gonna fire me because there's hot milk everywhere on the floor of the coffee shop? I mean, it's one latte. It's not that big of a deal.
Everything's fine. Everything's totally great. This is gonna be the best day ever.
Smashed my phone the other night.
And you know how much I love that phone.
Okay, all right. Just breathe. Okay, maybe don't breathe that hard. Who knew there were so many kinds of beans to choose from? Fava, black, kidney, butter, white beans.
Now you're surprised.
Oh, wow.
I'm beginning to think that you don't understand the gravity of this situation.
You came all the way down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and didn't bring your driver's license?
It's got settled to everyone.
Yeah. Now imagine the future of animated movies and how fast the development of those movies is going to be. You don't need fancy studios on anymore. All you need is a simple enough camera, and it does create all those videos for you. So this is just one company, and I'm showing you one of their many, many use cases that they help with and develop. Yeah. So let me go back to the slides. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, everything would be in the slides as well. What I want to show you next is something very, very interesting too. It's known as Hugging Face Spaces. So Hugging Face Spaces, and this is the website. Hugging Face Spaces is something that allows you to choose from use cases, because I think many people would generally be worried about what could we really do with AI, and there's so many tools available out there. So how do you even start with identifying what tools could be? Now, this place shows you everything that could be done using AI models. So what it does is it takes all AI models, and people would use those models to create examples and use cases, right? So for example, there are examples for image generation, video generation, text generation, language translation, 3D modeling. Now this looks interesting. Let me just open this and let me just click on one of these places. Now, these applications are known as spaces. What they do is they're like examples that you can use, that will allow you to see the output of the model. For example, let me just use any example. Let me just see a book. Okay. So what I've taken as an input is this book. What this model should do is convert this image of a book to a 3D model. Okay. So when I click on generate, what's going to happen is it's going to take this in. It's going to acquire a GPUs. It's all happening in the background. So it's getting the processing power. One good thing is from this company, it doesn't ask you to pay anything when you want to test all these use cases. So it's completely free to use. Um, and there you go. So based on the image I provided, it created a 3D model of my book that I can download in GLB format or Gaussian format. So I can download this model now without any cost, right? And you could have any image locally available as well, and you can upload that image from your computer, or you can take a picture through your webcam as well. And this is just one of the many apps available for 3D modeling. There's more. For example, let's see what else we can do. What about there's something for, yeah, there's something for voice cloning as well, but we've already seen voice cloning. Um, Speech synthesis, interesting, and language translation. But yeah, so there's literally going to be, you see, live, yeah, there you go, video generation as well. So I'm just randomly opening up some apps here, and there you go. So what it does is it takes up your portrait face. So it can, you can click on anything. So I'm going to click on this picture and click on, there should be a generate option somewhere. Yeah, it also works with video, which is interesting. Yeah, looks like there's some error in this application. Let me show you some other one. Um, Image generation again, and yeah, I mean, there's so many. I can't, I won't be able to try all of them, but yeah, there's image editing as well. Um, yeah, oh, face swap as well. Yes, there's no examples in face swap, but for example, all you need to upload is two faces here, and if you click on submit, it will swap all those faces for you, which is going to work for you directly. So yeah, there's all these things. So you may have come across many websites that will help you with background removal, that will help you with OCR, which is extracting text from images, or document analysis, or image captioning, chatbot, sentiment analysis. But basically, all those tools are already available here for free, and what they use are LLM models to do all those tasks, right? So this is one place known as Hugging Face Spaces. And let me go back to the slides. Okay, so yeah, I've shown you many AI technologies, many AI use cases, which has caused a big change in the market. For example, major tech giants like Meta, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft are on track to spend more than $320 billion on AI and cloud infrastructure in 2025. It's based on an article from Economic Times. Morgan Stanley's GPT-4 assistant. So Morgan Stanley decided to use a GPT-4 assistant for research, and they're saving around 40% of their general time. Also in healthcare, there's a company that is using AI-driven drug discovery, and this has reduced their R&D time by 50%. In manufacturing, Eaton is a company that is using AI tools that is slashing product development cycles by more than 87%. And I've mentioned the sources here as well. Walmart is also using AI-driven inventory management to reduce any out-of-stock events by 30%. Okay. So it shows a trend where every company is achieving AI innovation and working with AI to be more efficient than they used to be. But that also means that the market will change rapidly based on the innovations that we see right now. For example, this is very recent from last week. Okay, so I showed you old AI, but as I was mentioning to you, every month new things are coming in, and market changes every 2 months. So, for example, last week something new was released. It is known as Manus AI. Let me show you this video to do, well, I think more than a video, I can show you a real example. So basically, this AI can help you do a much better analysis for many, many things. For example, let's say you wanted to analyze Tesla stock. Okay. So this is like ChatGPT, and I'm just going to show you a replay. So let's say you asked the question, and this was the question. I'd like a thorough analysis of Tesla stock, including company overview, financial data, market sentiment, technical analysis, compare assets, value investor. So what this AI does is it connects to the data source, identifies all that data, and runs some code to help you get that analysis. It will then create a detailed plan that this AI is going to execute. and it will go and execute that plan and finally give you the output. Now, basically, the output is this, okay? So I've completed a financial data collection and I rotate Tesla stock market price, blah, 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 and it keeps moving on. It does so many other things and it keeps moving on. Yeah, it's still competing yeah. And then you see, ultimately, it gave an analysis report, and this was the analysis report in Word document. But more than that, the user also asked for a dashboard. So what it did is it went ahead and created a dashboard, and then the user asked for a public URL. So it went ahead and created a public URL and then created this dashboard. So just two prompts from a user, and it gave a Tesla stock analysis dashboard, which looks like this. Okay, from the technology Manus AI. What else? So they also have more things. So you can, let's say, interactive course on momentum theory, comparative analysis of insurance policy. Let me just open this one. I think this one is okay as well. So this is a teacher asking, I'm a physics teacher preparing to teach a law of conservation of momentum. So can you create an interactive course for me? And basically, it does exactly that. It researches the internet. So on the right side, it has its own personal computer. Okay. So this personal computer is something it uses to create this interactive course. And yeah, so if I were to show you this, I'm going to skip to results directly. And there's the course. Well, I think it's I can download the zip file now, but basically, um, yeah, the space is not available. But yeah, it's just like the Tesla stock, so it can create an interactive course. And there's many use cases. There's one for research, there's one for live, there's one for data analysis. So write a biography of Adobe INC, and many things. So Manus AI will help you do a lot more. So yeah, buying real estate in New York. So this is interesting as well. So yeah, I want to buy a property in New York. I hope for a low crime rate. I have a child in middle school and child in kindergarten. I have to consider their education expenses, blah, blah, blah. Please help me find the specific clause documents of suitable properties, compare them, and search in the list. So yeah, I'll skip to results directly because we don't want to see all this. And there are the results. So there's a neighborhood research, there's affordability analysis. You see, it has done all this. So all the files that it has created are these: neighborhood research, affordability analysis, property listings, property comparison, retail property info, and there you go. And yeah, all with a single user prompt. So user just asked this, and you can ask it to do more things as well. It will be able to do more. So this shows from models starting with ChatGPT 3.5 to models like Manas AI. We have come well, very far away in just 1 year. So from December 2023, we are living in 2025 now, but still the model evolution has been massive. But this also shows that the graph of innovation is exponential. So things are only going to improve and change extensively in the near future. There was a study done by McKinsey, and there, I want to open up this report. 1 second. Oh yeah, there you go. There it is. So there was this study done by McKinsey, and this report tells us about some really interesting things. So what it tells us is that in the near future, 3 times more employees are going to be using Gen AI for third or more of their work than leaders can imagine. So every company, as we all know, wants to work with AI. They have some idea or they have no idea on how to use AI. Their employees likely think that Gen AI is going to be something that they definitely need to learn. Why? Because if they don't learn Gen AI, then AI will replace them ultimately. So for most of the employees, AI is a concerning thing, but people still want to use AI and upskill themselves. Um, Companies need to move fast, and employees trust their own leaders to balance speed and safety. Because I know AI is an evolving market, and companies don't really know if it's the right and secured way to use AI or not. But 47% of the C-suite say that their companies are developing Gen AI tools too slowly because companies think that AI is too dangerous for the company, and leaders don't want to invest into AI when it's the right time at the moment. Um, 1.3 times more likely for employees to trust their own companies, because I think employees would trust their own companies more than any other third-party companies to develop AI. 92% of the companies plan to invest more in Gen AI over the next 3 years. And at the moment, only 1% companies believe that their investment have reached maturity, because I think it will take more than 2 or 3 years to reach maturity as well. Um, 2.4 times more likely for C-suite to cite employees' readiness. So companies and leaders believe that their employees are not ready for AI, but around 48% of employees think that AI training is the most important factor for Gen AI adoption. And yet nearly half feel they are receiving moderate or less support. So employees want to use AI. So based on this report, employees do believe that their company would be using AI ultimately, but which is why they're concerned that if they are not upskilled or trained themselves, and if the company doesn't jump on the AI boat initially, then that could be a concerning thing. So this report is really interesting and talks about all those metrics. Um, okay, so now that we've discussed use cases, as a company, the biggest challenge a company could face is, where do I really begin and where do I really start? To do that, there's a really good resource, and that good resource is this, the Generative AI dossier by Deloitte. Now, I personally like this website very much because of the way they present the use cases. So if you go on this website, basically what happens is you can select your industry or you can select your sector. Is it automotive, banking and capital, central government, defense? For example, if I select banking here, okay, it shows me 9 use cases that I can read about to work in the banking sector, right? For example, business enhanced AI support for customers. Okay, so this is the use case. So the opportunity is customer service or engagement is vital for FSI organizations as they transform product. Yeah, for enterprise to rapidly and accurately answer both common and complex customer queries and to do so with timeliness. Um, this is for customer satisfaction, a cycle of efficiency and growth, and how Gen AI can help. Generative AI can be paired with other models to create a customer interface that delivers a hyper personalized experience. It's a more capable digital agent. And how do you manage risk? So you manage risk by looking into responsibility of AI, privacy, and transparency. And there's a big report that you can download as well. For example, if you download the report, it shows something like this. So this is the generative AI dossier. They show the 6 common modalities for AI. For example, AI could generally be used for text. AI could be used for code. AI could be used for audio, image, video, or 3D and specialized things. And there's examples on each of the modalities as well. And there's a broad category too. For example, you could use AI in all these aspects for cost reduction, for process efficiency, for growth, for government citizen services, or for accelerating innovation, or for new discoveries as well. Um, Similarly, then it goes ahead and shows you the entire AI use cases, and there's many use cases as well. So which is why this website is a really good resource if you want to identify use cases. But the initial steps, I mean, the important steps to develop any AI are these 3 basic steps. So the first step is assess operational pain points. So let's say you're a company and you have a process. This process has multiple touch points. So all you need to identify is your entire process and every single touch point on that process. So once you know that, you then try to extract inefficiencies in the current process that could be improved with AI, right? And then what you do is you evaluate ROI and feasibility of those AI applications. So you prioritize projects that will have high impact and a low risk. And then ultimately you will start small and then you will measure the success. And if something works really well, then you can expand on more projects as well. Okay, so it's a good thinking to always start small. Don't invest heavily if you're a new company. Always start with smaller use cases, and if you succeed and you like those use cases, then only you can go ahead. Implementing AI and going full-fledged on AI is well, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it's not a good idea for enterprises that are really experimenting with AI. And yeah, this starting small can really help with use cases. So yeah, I think so far, we have discussed AI use cases, how AI could be a strategic co-pilot. Instead of something that can replace us, it can be something that can make us more efficient. And AI models are very detailed, data-rich engines. So think of them as like that contains vast amount of knowledge. And when they are given access to the internet, they can do a lot more too. But think about this. Instead of giving them access to the internet, you can give it access to your own data. So the knowledge would just be limited to what you do as an organization. And then AI can answer questions for your organizations only, right? And agentic AI is indeed the future as well. So what we are going to do is we're going to conclude the masterclass here today. I'm going to hand over to Mark. And in the next class, we're going to study large language models and how they are going to be used. So it's going to be another practical dive, just like the today's class. So I'll hand over to you, Mark.
That's amazing. Thank you so very much, Shubham. Some great insights there, and hopefully providing some information on how people can leverage that information or that new knowledge to transform their workplaces accordingly. As mentioned at the beginning of the series or the session, a link and a code has been provided for you to join this series on the Cubicle application. I think that should be at the right of your screen in the webinar chat. There's sort of a registration link there and a code to enter into the landing page. We've included essentially some e-learning material there to sort of augment your understanding, to sort of prepare you and get you up to a conversational level of understanding of some of these concepts before the masterclasses actually take place. The next masterclass is on April 16th, so a few weeks away. Giving you the opportunity again to explore some of those concepts or some of that training material on the Cubicle application. If you have any questions about our Academies Plus product, feel free to find us on academiesplus.com and click the Talk to Us button. Be happy to have a conversation with anybody who wants to know a little bit more about that. And that concludes everything for today. Thank you very much again, Shubham. A great session and happy learning. Until next time.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.